Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great. So today I'm going to discuss how to draw with shapes, and it's actually you heard about it like shape design, and it's actually a tool to make your drawing more realistic in terms of like feeling the forms, how it's turning, and as you can see you can achieve with very few lines and you can make it like more 3D. Like you can see here, it's giving you the sense of drapery, it's turning around. As you can see here, these two lines indicating you the form of this banding. So what you can do with that is you can play with the shape. Like you can imagine the shape. There is a shape here and you can break down like I did here. Like it's break down from here and then start continuing here. So it's called closure. So you can do something like that. Let me explain what is like drawing through the form. So basically the idea is when you draw a circle and you imagine this is like a form of, and if it's going to be in 3D, it's going to be a sphere. So like there is line, is if it's going from here, so it's going to be continue from the back side. So these, whenever whatever the details is going to be, it's going to be appear on this sphere according to the form. So let's say if I have a texture over this sphere, some kind of reptilian texture like this maybe, so it's going to be appear here big and it's going to be foreshortening. So even the texture is going to be wrapped around this form. Maybe it's going to be darker here and getting lighter and lighter and it's going towards the backside. But still, if you have like, let's say, a tree trunk, you draw the shape of the tree trunk, but how can you indicate that that tree trunk is turning around, like it's bending towards this? So when you're drawing, you're adding the lines that indicate it's turning around. And also you can play with the texture of the tree as well to indicate the texture. At the same time you indicate the light, and at the same time you're indicating the form of the tree as well. So, but in terms of human body, these are very simple examples. Like this is very cylindrical, this is very spherical. But in terms of the complex drawings, let's say this one or this one, so these are more, they are more shapes happening, there are more forms happening. So what you can do, you can break down these shapes and design. Let's take another, let's draw in a character. Let's draw a character here and see what can we do with that. So I'm imagining a character like a beast character. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play with the big, medium, and small shapes. So first of all, I'm going to imagine, let me just zoom in a little bit so I have a good area. Yes, that's fine. Let me see if it's working. Yeah, it's working. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry about my lines going out because I'm drawing very lightly. So here I'm imagining the torso, trying to make it 3D. See, my line is also bending as I'm imagining the form. Like this is the chest area. So I'm trying to figure out the silhouette of the character. And this shape is actually into this shape, And don't be scared of drawing the full shape. Like, you can go over and make the line darker, whichever you feel like it's correct. Let's say I can make this line dark, so I can emphasize on the correct line, and all of the basic line is going to help you to imagine the form as well. So let's say this is like the shape of the chest, and there you have the shoulder pad. It's not shoulder pad, like tricep. I draw a lot of like armor, so I always say the shoulder pad. So you can imagine there's another shape. It's attached to it is attached to the torso, and then there is a pelvic area. So pelvic area is like a shape of a underwear, or like this kind of shape. So you can draw the shape here. Then you can imagine two legs coming towards you. It's like it's coming out, extruding out. So one leg going this way, one leg going this way, and then I can add the form over it. So as I'm imagining a very masculine character like beast, so I can play with the exaggerated form and enhance the shape, like make them more bigger like I did here. And but what I'm trying to do is like I'm thinking about the intersections of form, and you can easily like emphasize on the intersection by using this Y kind of intersection line. Can you see that? Like, you have sphere. I have mentioned this before in my previous video, and there's overlapping of another sphere. So you can see it's like there is an intersection point. So if you emphasize on them, it gives you very nice effect of form as well. So let's say there is another form over his leg. So let's say it's like an eye drop shape over the thigh. So what I'm going to do, I can emphasize this kind of effect with the implied line, like it's like continuation of this shape, but it's a closure of the shape. And then I can think of there is one more kind of anatomical thing going on here. See, this is like I don't know the names, like there is a big form happening at back side of the leg. It's good if you remember the names of muscles, but it's not necessary. Like, artists work with visuals, so you need to remember the visual masses of the anatomy, and you can play with it in any form, like in beasts, in humans, in creatures. Even if you're designing a tree as a creature, you can use these kind of forms, like anatomical form, to make it to give it a touch of like humanoid figure or humanoid, like something living creature, because in this way we can relate to that character easily. So as I know this is like form from here to here, so you don't need to draw that. I just show you what you can do. You can play with this. See, there is some kind of like tension here. So what you can do, you can play with this tension to create the form effect. These little closures, these little hints, is actually make your drawing more appealing, because you're summarizing an essay in few words. These things are more effective. That's why poetry is more effective, because there are only few words and you're saying a lot. Same thing in drawing, like you don't need to draw all of the form. You can draw through the form and just give the hints, like I'm doing same here. So I know this is like going here like this, and this leg, like it's going backwards, so this also is going to backwards. So what I'm going to do is, like, I'm trying to portray the foreshortening with the help of shape, because they are like cylindrical shape, like one cylinder going up, one over another, so it's like that. This is the shape that we have here in this form. So if you have this kind of imagination in your brain, so you can add all of the details without drawing them, and applying this method, like to show the turning of the form, twisting of the form. See, and then if I try to make this that, and here I know it's intersect, it's like a locking system from your bicep to tricep, and the bicep to the muscles on the chest. In anatomy, there is a very famous concept of landmarks. So some landmarks are there in our body which are constant in every kind of human body, like female, male, even in some animals like chimpanzees and monkeys. And these are like the shoulder bone, the nipples, the abdomen area, the area of the pelvic bone, this one. So these are landmarks. People also focus on that because these are the constant of human body. So if you mark them correctly in the correct proportion, it will give you the sense of realism, or it will make your drawing grounded. So I have this drawing here. Maybe I can turn the hand this way. Okay. So for head, I'm going to again imagine the head in the shape. Let's say it's a bee, so it's going to be like the neck is going to be so big and thick that is going to cover within the head area. See, if the character is thin, you need to draw the head longer, and the neck is going to be like it's going to be inside the head area. But if it's very bulky head, you can draw the head shape and then draw the neck coming out of the head area, like a orc drawing, because orcs have really bulky and big heads. So once I have a big shape, now I'm imagining how I'm going to draw my beast character here. So usually what you can do with the beast, like if you draw the nose and eyes very smaller as compared to your overall head, and very close together, like these three things, and if you draw the mouth a little bit bigger, you can easily convey the massive skull, give the impact of a very massive skull. That's what happened in orcs as well. And then I can make this jawline more bigger. If the area of the brain is smaller, you can easily portray that this creature is more about muscle, less about the cognitive skill. Like he's more not much a smart creature, so he's more about like a strength. He's more about instinctual, like he work according whatever he needs to do at the time. If he is hungry, he can't leave anything. So now I'm going to add some pattern, or sorry, some not pattern, some texture on the belly. So like some flesh is going see through from his belly, like some scratches. So all of these scratches also following the form as well to make the impact of 3Dness. I'm imagining a tail going from here to the back side. And see, if you do this, like it's turning in, and then the back side is making again this kind of effect to give you the sense of turning and twisting of the form. Again, this Y shape or intersection of lines happening here as well. So now I'm going to add some lighting, like light effects, and all you need to do, you need to give some hints of lights. Like you don't have to render all of your drawings. Let me just draw this arm first because it's really distracting. Again, I'm imagining this is like a little bit far away from all of this body, like this is more in front, this is a little bit further away, so it's going to be a little bit smaller. Okay, so what I'm going to do in terms of rendering, I always first imagine the light direction where it's coming from. That's the one thing. Let's say take it, imagine like where you have a nice shadow shapes, because that's really important. Not always every light direction is really helpful for you. Like you need to imagine your character and then imagine if light is coming from this direction, it will cast a nice shadow on this shoulder. Maybe if light's coming from this direction, it will cast a shadow nicely here. But I really like to do it in this way because I have really nice shapes on this arm and here as well. So let's go for this direction. So that's the one thing, like you first need to select the light direction and then draw the shapes. Like if the shadows, like if this form of torso is going to cast the shadow on this arm, it's going to create some nice shadow shapes, and you can play with that shapes as well. See, and it's also going to be bended or turned around according to form, like this one, like this one. This whole shape is bending in because here we have the form coming down and then bending inside like this. So we have nice little caveat of like form shadow, and it will cast a little bit of shadow here as well, the like casting shadow and the form shadow. There are only two kinds of shadow: cast shadow and form shadow. Let's take example of a sphere on a ground, light coming from same direction. So this is like your form shadow, this one, and this is your casting shadow. And in the form, because the form is bending and turning, so it's going to be gradient, like there's going to be gradient in the shadow. Same thing if the shadow is near, like the shadow near to the form is more darker, and the shadows going away from the form is going to be lighter. Due to your fill light means there is some light in this area that is going to affect your shadow. So, and there is going to be the bounce back like light, sorry, which is going to be affect your form shadow. So the fill light, the bounce back light is also going to be affected our shadows. That's why we don't have like still like very clean shadows. There's always some gradient happening in the shadow as well. But this separation of which is called terminator, separation of light and dark in the form shadow, this calls terminator. So what you can do, you can make it a little bit darker, which give you really nice effect of the shading. And with having this natural phenomena, there is one artist called Riley. I don't know the full name of Riley, but his drawing is very famous due to this terminator line effect. What he usually do, like I don't know how old he was, like when was he in the history, but what he did, like he emphasized on the terminator a lot when he's drawing his figures. And we are going to apply that Riley method shading in our drawing. What you can do, you can make this terminator a little bit darker and shade your character, shade the shadow a little bit lighter, so it gives you a really nice effect of like shading. And within shading, like within when you're shading, you can use the form, like form to shade, like your lines is actually bending according to the form. That's also really nice to do the two things at one, like also showing the form, also rendering the form. See, this area is going to be darker, but it's very like gradual gradient there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this area very dark, and it's gradually like getting lighter. What is good thing about drawing with ball pen, like you can build up your values, like sketching light and then going over again and again to make it a little bit darker. was imagining this is happening. A light is coming from this direction, so we have much of his torso from this area is going to be in dark. So much of the area of this side of the torso is going to be in darker. And here I'm imagining the shape of the head is going to cast the shadow on this side. And now I can play with the shadow shape of head. And maybe I'm missing some area from the shadow, but that's okay. You can take advantage of drawing shadow shapes to enhance the form, like you read of the form. So wherever you think it's necessary to add the shadow, you can add, and wherever you think it's okay, you can leave the area, because we are artists and we don't need to be very true to the reality. You can always take and leave something from the reality to your need, because you need to convey the sense of 3D-ness. Sometimes you go for realism and it's not really working in the sketch form. That's always happened. And that's why people do the stylization, like why it is there, because stylization, you leave something, you emphasize on something. Like, let's say Riley method, he emphasized on this natural phenomena a lot, and he take this style and do all of his figure drawing, painting or drawing according to this. So there is going to be really nice shadow on this thigh. So I'm imagining if this is coming from this, I can play with that beautiful shadow thing happening here. And then here you have this leg is turning in, so the lower part of the leg is going to be very dark. So but there is some bounce light, like I said, in the form shadow you have the bounce light. So light is coming from this direction, but it's bouncing back. It's a very light effect, like very lightly you can make it gradually lighter. Also, don't leave some area, like there are some areas where there is a very, like, light have a very hard time to go in, like this area, like in this area. So it's going to be pitch dark, like very dark area. That's called ambient occlusion. Like the light have really hard time going in those kind of pockets. So don't leave the chance to leave them empty. Like there's your chance to add the contrast, because when you add those light darker marks or shapes in your drawing, you're actually adding the contrast in your drawing, which is really important. Like contrast is the key to make your drawing amazing and awesome. So I hope you like this this tutorial, this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. And please like and subscribe and share this content. Now I'm going to complete this drawing with fast forward video, and see you in the next one. Thank you.